The first question, could you please recommend a living enlightened master who is in either Vancouver area, British Columbia, Canada, North America, who is accepting students to learn the deeper aspects of meditation? Thank you. I don't know of any. The reason why I tell you that is, it's not that there's no enlightened master, because I've come across a situation like this where we think that the master is enlightened, really prolific writer, have a lot of experiences as indicated in his writing, and we thought that must be a living master. And then we run into problems and we call, we can never get in contact with them, it's too busy. And then we keep on trying, and then finally we get to him and we ask all kinds of questions. But the answer is very short. It's just like, just keep on doing what you're doing and carry on. It's not like a doctor who carefully diagnose your situation and tell you what to do. Plus, I have also known students who actually thought that, oh, the masters must be in, I'm naming some countries without prejudice. Could be in Burma, could be in Thailand, could be in China, could be in the Himalayas. So without telling you where, I don't want to bias the country. He went to that country, and a whole group of Sangha community, many members, every day meditating, every day going on arms round and all that. And he was there. He is North American, he's Canadian. He was there, and the first month was quite good with following. Seems that all surrounding, all these brothers and sisters are almost like masters, and there are also masters around, you know, the highest master, second class master, and he couldn't get used to it. He couldn't get used to the weather. He couldn't get used to the food. He couldn't get used to the type of living. And he went crazy. He went crazy. He was, when he came back, he thought he was possessed. But he came from a place where there are renowned masters. So how come, you know, he got crazy? His family is looking for him. I said, he's not here. He's not here. He's just sometimes come to us. He's not here. So masters, and also there are people who are so prolific in writing, so good in writing, that they can write flowery language, the bestsellers. But they're just prolific writers. They can write anything that make people feel that that's true, that's real. But when you come to him or her, it may not be the same thing. And also some masters who claim themselves to be enlightened, awakened, but then when you went to see him or her, you notice that he has a wife, and he's like an ordinary person, and we don't want to intrude into privacies of other people, you know. And what I figured out is, if you practice meditation, the highest level you can go in Kamadhatu is Kamadhatu jhana, which is not even in Rupadhatu or Rupadhatu. How can you be enlightened if you still have a man and woman relationship? How can you be enlightened? Or you could go to a master who, in the surface, in appearance, could be very nice, but who knows what's behind? According to some, I don't want to name anything, some scandals, we thought that that's a good, a master, but it turns out to be a scandal. So how can I would be foolhardy to introduce a master to you, because you can come back to me and say, hey, because of what you suggest, I got into this mess. I got into this master. So I'm sorry, I don't know. Be honest, carry what the Buddha talked about in sutras, and something simple, something you can follow, something that you know is righteousness. For example, how can anyone claim to be a good meditation master if he or she didn't even follow the Buddha's precepts? You're still involved with lying, killing, sexual misconduct. If you are still a meat eater, you are eating meat every day, alive. You kill fish. Easter coming up, turkey's good taste. That kind of thing. And how can that be a good master if they still involved in meat eating? Many factors that prevent one to introduce to anybody a master. I know of a master who passed away already, Sakyamuni Buddha. He passed away, unfortunately, but all his writings are there. So we always think that the flowers in front of other houses are more beautiful. Your own house, it does not contain the best flowers. That's why you're shopping around for good flowers. You always think that the other wife is better than yours, because you never get to know the details of the other wives. You only know the details of your own wife. The other husband is more responsible, is more lovely, but you don't know the bad habits of the other husband. And the other mountain is more green. The greener pasture is not here, it's there. But don't you know that value what you have, appreciate what you got? That's a philosophy in there. Talking about appreciate what you have, I was talking about Dharma just now. Dharma is giving out. I just want to ask you a question, particularly for those who just come here a few times. When you're eating, I think what is in your mind, I can classify into many categories of thinking. One would be think, oh, it's good food, delicious. Oh, I can sit down and enjoy this food, and it's crispy. Egg rolls, spring rolls, crispy. Vegetables and everything, and it's good. Plus, it's complimentary. I don't have to pay for it. If I have to pay for it, look at the menu, I would say, how much? $18, $20, $30? We used to put, many years ago, 25 years ago, we used to put a donation box right there. For those who after food, they can drop in whatever money they have. And I know that there are some guys who drop in a penny. Well, the food is only worth a penny? They could have $35, $50, $100 in the wallet, and they drop in a penny. But when you ask them, it's good food. Because nobody knows how much you dropped in. Always appreciate what you've got. The food that you're eating was donated by generous devotees who are not even here, They just wanted to make sure that there's a meditation group in the temple who appreciate the Buddhist teaching, who knows how to meditate and get out of sufferings. Their generosity is in the food. So when you're eating, think of how generous these people. This was donated by people who wanted us to learn, who wanted to keep the operation going. And they are unnamed. They're synonymous. Synonymous. How do you say that? Anonymous. They're anonymous. They're anonymous. They don't show even their names. But there are people who actually donated. You see how Mr. Tom said, it was donated by so-and-so foundation or whatever. They wanted to give. The first practice in the Buddhist teaching is to learn how to give out. If everybody appreciate what they've got, they will give. As I said in the beginning, if in a family, if the parents know how to educate their kids, they will continuously say, hey, this bread and butter, this food on the table, does not come easily. Dad has to make a living. We have to work. So everybody appreciate what they have. So should we wash dishes together? Should we share? I mean, if we all appreciation is very important. Appreciate that you are in good health. Appreciate that you can see, you can listen, you can smell. If you think of Helen Keller, the philosopher 100 years ago, she lost her senses. She lost her seeing ability, listening ability, talking ability. He only have touch ability. But he appreciated nature. He appreciated everything. In her essay entitled, If I'm Giving 3 Days to See, because she was blind. Try to Google that essay. If I have 3 days to see, I can see things. She could not see things. What would I have done, she said, if I were given 3 days to see? One of the paragraph in there, it infringed in my heart, in my mind. She says, I always have friends who came back from nature, from Mother Nature, from a walk in the forest. I have friends in the springtime, they have a walk in the forest. And then I asked them, what did you see? They say, nothing in particular, just as usual. And then she said, how could you have walked into the forest and tell me you enjoy nothing in particular? The songs of the birds, the running water of the waterfall, the skies, the fragrance, the grass, the trees, the branches, all this is a beautiful nature. I couldn't see, I could touch them. I really appreciate my touch. People don't appreciate their senses until they lost it. Do you appreciate your eyes? Appreciate your nose? Appreciate your listening? Appreciate that you can come here for a lunch? If you always appreciate what you've got, then you can let go. I haven't seen people who are kind and they couldn't let go. I mean, we all really have to have an introspection of appreciation. What am I talking about? I'm being led further and further away from the question. So I said, who is accepting students to learn the deeper aspects of meditation? Very difficult to find a teacher. There are teachers around. I'm not excluding anything. There are teachers around. But is he suitable for you? Is the environment there suitable for you? Could you stand their habituation? Say, for example, they only eat 1 meal per day, for example, and they're in a cave. They have no electricity. They burn wood for fire. And there are mosquitoes around at night. There's no shampoo for you. There's no detergent for you. There's no hot water for you. Are you going to go there? We've been spoiled. You may not be used to it. Don't look at the other pasture. Try to cultivate your own pasture within the environments and the factors given. Don't try to cultivate other pasture that you don't even know of. It may look greener to you, but that greenery may not be acceptable to you when you are there. Okay, that's the first question. Okay, second question, please have, do plants have consciousness? If so, how do we show compassion when we eat them and use them? We say plants, humans have consciousness, animals, all sentient beings. What's the definition of sentience? Sentient is they have passions, they have feelings. They have mother and son feeling, husband and wife feeling, they have family feelings, they sentient, they have emotions and all that, sentient beings. All animals have consciousness. Do plants have consciousness? The way I look at it, plants, not that I know of, not that the scientists know of, plants have photosynthesis. Photosynthesis. That means if you put plants in a place where there's no sunlight and then you have light there, the plant will go towards the light. It moves towards the light. And it moves towards the water because the plant wants to survive. So it has photosynthesis for survival. They want to get to the sun, they want to get to the water, they want to get to the soil, they want to get to watery soil, not dry soil. They struggle for existence too. They have photosynthesis. But whether they have loving kindness to the grass, to the mosquitoes hovering around them, I don't know. I don't think scientists would know. They will only know that plants react to environments, react to differences and factors of environments. You show me, any scientists say plants have consciousness. Plants have interaction. The consciousness that we feel, consciousness is what? Consciousness have 8 consciousnesses. The eye consciousness, the ear consciousness, the nose consciousness, the taste consciousness, the touch consciousness, the mano consciousness, the manas consciousness, the alaya consciousness. And I can name just one that I don't, at this point, think that plant has consciousness. All animals have the banking consciousness, which means that whatever you have done this lifetime, it won't get away. All action, speech, and thought. It's stored in your memory, in your banking memory. And you carry that energy into the next life, be it good or bad. If you're always creating bad karmic energy, it gets stored in your banking consciousness, and you suffer from miserable life in next life because of what you have done. Not because of God, not because of Buddha. You yourself determine your own destiny, not Buddha, not God, not any deities. So you are storing up all these and roll into the next life. And also, when an animal or being with consciousness dies, its consciousness would roll into the next life. That's the reason why we don't want to kill animals. Because they could be your brothers and sisters in previous lives, your mom, your dad, your friends. Whereas for plants, if you cut the plant off, it has a lot of seeds to spread and to grow again. It has a continuity that you wouldn't believe. You cut a piece of grass. You think you killed the grass? The grass have a lot of seeds. It would grow overnight. It would spread like you wouldn't believe. You think you cut a bamboo and the bamboo will stop? No. Its roots goes all over the place. Its continuation is spontaneous, it grows again immediately. So there's no questions in if you don't eat meat, how come you eat vegetables? Vegetables have life too, have consciousness too. People are like that. So you are talking about you are kind, not eating animals, you're being a vegan. You're eating plants. You're killing plants. You are as unkind as us. But it doesn't know that plants can spread and grow all over the place. Plus, if I don't eat plant, I will die. There must be something I eat. I cannot eat air, water. So in order to sustain my life, so that I can practice, so that I can be good, I at least have to eat something, right? And I'm eating something that can propagate every season. No end to it. But if I kill a goat, you know that goat itself will propagate? The goat will not boom into a second goat, right? You kill that goat. But the grass would grow into multifold grasses, variegated grasses. So I don't know if I've answered your question. So you can argue that you guys, you eat meat, you shouldn't be eating plants. What is the difference between the people wearing black robes and the monks and nuns? Well, there are people who are wearing white, blue, green, all kinds of people wearing different clothes. But I can tell you, the black robes is a uniform that the layman, or the lay Buddhists, they're not monks and nuns, they like to dress in uniform, which is black. In Thailand, it's white. It could be another country, it's gray. So it's just differentiate the monk and nuns from the layman, a laywoman. Otherwise, because nowadays people have a hair fashion of shaving bald-headed. If we don't have this kind of uniform, how can we differentiate a monk and a nun, a monk and a layman? Because I can see a lot of bald-headed in here. They are not monk. So you got to have some uniform that differentiate laymen from monk. How do you properly bow to monks and nuns to show your respect? Just put your palms together, will do. But in Burma and Thailand, they actually do the prostration. When they see monks and nuns, other than that is like a casual way. They also do the formal way too. Formally, they would, because when they respect that monk, it's not just that physical body they're respecting. They're respecting what is behind the Buddha's teaching, relieving all sentient beings from sufferings. The practice that lead to compassion and awakening, saving billions of sentient beings from suffering and pain. They respect that practice, that awakening, that compassion, not that physical body in front of them. Just put your palms together, and that's good enough in North America. In China and Burma, they actually do the prostration. When they prostrate, the reference is to the Buddha and to that monk who obeyed the Vinaya, who is working for perfection. So that's why we monks and nuns always say, we monks always in our mind say, how can we accept prostration if we're not practicing as monk? How can we accept alms if we're not practicing? So we always do the repentance ceremony. Am I deserve the food that I'm eating? Am I practicing? So if I'm not practicing, if I'm not following the Vinaya, if I always, still engage in attachment, I should not accept not only prostration, I should not accept even the alms food. I should cook my own food because I'm not qualified to eat it. They always think that way. This kind of idea could be new to North American people. But I know that there are a few North American people who became monks and nuns in Thailand. They were more fervent and faithful than even the locals there. They really walked the Buddha's way. I've seen that. Dear Master, I have 3 questions. The pursuit of perfection land is opposed to appreciating the current land is the wisdom. But I thought we are supposed to be patient, appreciating, and content. Wouldn't the practice be contradictory? We can learn to be content. We can learn to be appreciating. We can learn to be patient. We're in the process of learning all that. But do you feel that you already reached the success of mastering patience, success of being content, success of you having the full appreciation of everything? Have you been awakened from non-appreciating, non-impatience, and discontent? You are still looking for that utopia that we're trying to go. And here, Amitabha has a land that is free from suffering. We are in suffering now. We are in suffering, but we learned to let go of the suffering. We learn to get used to the suffering. We learn to live with the suffering. We're all living with the suffering. You are not away from the suffering. You're living with the suffering. But you're living with the suffering, you're not being overwhelmed by it. People who are overwhelmed by this suffering couldn't stand living. That's the reason why there are people who commit suicide. There are people who hurt themselves, who hurt others, continue to do, bad karma. We have to live with the suffering and try to practice appreciation, practice being content, not only for yourself, for others too. So there's no contradiction. I don't exactly know where you see the contradiction. Maybe you can clarify it if I didn't know what you mean. The second question, if your breath has to be subtle and unnoticeable, how can we keep counting? When you reach to the subtlety and the peace and the extreme content and the tranquility, there's no counting. There's no counting. You just know it's there. There's no counting. Or there may be counting. There may be counting. You wouldn't lose it. That's just a feeling. Counting is a technique. The feeling is not the counting. Plus, there's so many people who feel a different way. Some people will feel, my counting is all gone. I only have the breath. And that breath is subtle, fine, content. I am at peace. But I don't have the counting anymore. I wouldn't say, come on, you should count. No, I said, congratulations, because you don't need counting anymore. When you cross the water from Nanaimo to Victoria, I've arrived in Victoria, but I want to get attached to the ship. Can you get to Victoria? I said, it's good. Get rid of the ship. You don't need the counting anymore. You're on shore. You have to leave the boat to get on shore. You cannot attach to counting to get the purification. But the counting is important. The boat is important. If you don't have the boat, how can you get to Victoria? But if you get to Victoria, you get to see the Parliament House, to enjoy a high tea in what do you call that, Imperial Hotel. That's the best tea in Victoria. $95. You can eat for 2 hours. Have you been there? I have been there. You have to book one day in advance. You got 500 people in the hall, more than 100 waiters. They have veggie though. We didn't eat meat. So you need to abandon boat. All right. Next, from the right leg on top, half lotus position, it is about contemplation of anti-evil. How can we imagine this posture with the thought of eliminating greediness, hatred, and jealousy and thoughts? Who told you? Who told you to have this thought? We just say counting. This is the name of that position. That's the name. Nobody told you to attach to the name. Nobody say that this is the name of subduing Mara. I'm subduing Mara. I'm not counting. I'm subduing Mara. You're not counting. That's just a posture of reminding yourself of suppressing all your depression, your hatred, your anger, your jealousy, your suspiciousness. Just get rid of that and keep on counting. Any question? You can ask question if you want. Yes?
Has Buddha ever felt that there will be another living Buddha coming after him?
Yeah. There will be another, there will be a future Buddha many, many years later, and that future Buddha now is Maitreya Bodhisattva. When you're entering the garden, there's a big belly laughing Buddha. There's a Maitreya Bodhisattva. He's the future Buddha. He will be coming down like 2,600 years ago when Siddhartha Gautama was born as a prince in India and became the Buddha. That was the last Buddha. There will be a future Buddha many, many years from now, and that is Maitreya Buddha. He will be coming for the next round of Buddhahood.